We are back with a normal-ish week of golf. No more team event. We're getting ready for the PGA Championship, and we're getting started this week with the CJ Cup Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch, which is like the longest name for a tournament ever. I got you covered. 555 DFS Army. Here we go. What up, everybody? It's your boy DFS Up North here with another 555 PGA podcast. We are talking about the CJ Cup Byron Nelson at TPC Craig Ranch. Again, longest name ever. Used to be the AT&T Byron Nelson, but now it is the CJ Cup Byron Nelson. CJ. Why do I keep saying CG? CJ Cup. And yeah, new sponsor this year, still at TPC Craig Ranch. It's going to be an interesting week. We lost Will Zalatoris today. He withdrew. And that's, thinking about the top of the board, there's not many guys that are great plays. There is one wearing a CG. God, I did it again. CJ hat that I do really like this week. 555 format, right? You guys are now aware of what we are doing here, but if you've never watched before, I give you 5 key stats or narratives to watch this week to help you build lineups, 5 favorite plays, and 5 low-owned GPP punts. This is just a taste of what we do at DFS Army. I've got full cheat sheets, the research station, which we'll talk about, domination station, all that stuff. If you want to become a DFS Army VIP, you can use that code Up North. That gets you 10% off a VIP membership monthly, right? Use that code Up North, gets you access to all of the tools and things that I talk about. And my full cheat sheet, I felt like I broke down everybody this week because in events like this, it's weird, right? Without a lot of top guys, it's a terrible field, which actually is key point number 1. It is a terrible field. It's one of the worst that we've had so far this year, but that opens up tons of guys to win. So I don't want to say I'm super high on a ton of guys. You'll see in my favorite plays here in a minute, but I would not be shocked to see a guy break through and win his first PGA Tour event this week. I would not be surprised to see a sub 7K guy win. I wouldn't be surprised to see a guy that's maybe a tour vet that hasn't won in a while find a way, like a Ryan Palmer, to win here. It's just feels like one of those weeks. Actually, maybe the guy that I think could pop off here kind of out of nowhere would be a Cam Champ. He's been playing a little bit better this year. So keep that name in mind. And kind of why I like a Cam Champ is that this is a long course, but it is very, very wide fairways, some of the widest that we have on tour. And because of that, this is absolutely bomb and gouge territory. We do not have to really worry about hitting fairways this week. You can just pump it out there. All right. One of the interesting things about TPC Craig Ranch that we don't usually see is that there are 3 different types of grass on this course. We get bent grass greens, which we have not seen a ton of this year. We've seen a lot of overseed, a lot of POA overseed on bent, but not a lot of bent grass. So guys that have played in Texas, bent grass is sort of familiar to them. Australians typically good on bent grass as well. But then we get Bermuda rough, which is a little bit different. Bermuda rough is thick. All right. So like I said, there's some wide fairways here, but if you don't hit the fairway, you get into that Bermuda thick stuff in the rough, you're going to be in trouble. It's going to be hard for you to hit the green and get it close from there because it just snarls around your irons. Even a wedge is going to have a hard time getting out of there. But then we get Zoysia fairways. Zoysia is super springy. You don't get a bad lie in it. So again, more of a premium placed on hitting the fairways. So if you are long and you can hit the fairways, you're going to be in good shape. This is an easy course. Played to super low last year. I think the front 9 played like -2.5 under par, which is wild to think, but you're gonna have to get 25-30 under par to win this week. It is an absolute birdie fest. When we sort in the research station, which is something that we can do, we can look at field ranks, what percentage of the field guys beat on these easy course birdie fests, and the guys that sort of stood out to me that actually had like a decent sample were Adam Scott, Jordan Spieth, and even a Seamus Power, who is coming around in his game. They look like some pretty strong plays. Then the last key stat is another research station stat that we use is value, which is looks at salary and what our projections do. And our projections this week, love ya boys, Siwoo Kim. All right, best play on the slate according to our projections. So if you trust that, which I do, he is an outstanding play this week according to the RS, and he's got that sponsorship. CJ didn't say CG this time. Go me. That CJ sponsorship on the hat. There he is right there. But he is my third favorite play this week. My first favorite play is going to be Alexander Noren. Talked about him here multiple times. He is just continues to trend in the right direction. His game is in good shape. Add in the fact that we can worry less about finding fairways here, which he can get a little wonky on. Relies on a short game, can putt, makes a bunch of birdies. Really, really like him. And then Steven Jaeger, who won a couple of weeks ago. Since then, has played fine golf, but in this field, he is one of the class players in the field. So I love Jaeger this week, 9,200. And as you can kind of see here, I'm shying away from the top of the board this week. I love a Jordan Spieth. Jason Day, I don't. Wears awful golf clothes, but he's the defending champ here. I think that a balanced build this week in GPP is going to be the successful strategy. So that is what I'm doing. I'm starting kind of with that Alex Noren and Steven Jaeger type of build. That's probably my favorite top two guys, and then it's Siwoo Kim and maybe a combination of those two guys as well, or even getting down to like a Benny On. All right. Love Siwoo. We talked about that. This is a great course for him. He's been so consistent this year. I've been really impressed with his game. He is knocking on the door. We talked about a guy that crushes Birdie Fest. That's a game starting to come back around, right? He went through a tough spell here in the last 6-ish months, but the last 2 months, we've really seen Seamus Power's game come back around. I don't know if he was dealing with an injury or what the deal was, but he is, I was a little bit of a sticker shock at the price, but when you look at the field and the way he's been playing, I do love Seamus Power at 7,900. I think this is a great fit for him. He's been great here over the years. And then right there in that mid tier, again, we're just kind of hammering this like mid 9 to mid 7 range, right? For my builds is Dougie Gim. Dougie Gim Chi, great ball striker, playing well. Good history here. Justin Thomas Light, what I call him. He's been so good lately. Looked pretty solid last week with our boy Chan Kim, who's another strong play this week. So Doug Gim would be my 5th favorite plays. And like you can play all these guys, and I don't think you can get you might not be able to get them all in the same lineup, but a strong core to start your lineups. Then let's look at, can we go to our punts? Right off the bat, Dylan Wu is like outrageously underpriced. 6,700. I expect him to be chalky. Our research station and domination station don't have ownership projections in. Those go in on Wednesday morning. So if you are a VIP and you're watching this, that's when you can expect that. If you're not a VIP, you want to become one, again, use that code up north. You can let me know what you think. Here's the deal. Tell me if you're watching this right now, Dylan Wu, over 10% or under 10%. My guess is I'm going to say over. 6,700 is too cheap. I'm going to say over 10%, but leave me a note in the comments where you think Dylan Wu is going to end up this week. If you're right and I'm wrong, I'll give you a shout out next week. Lanto Griffin, tee to green stud, returning from injury this year. Guys crushed on the KFT, loves a good birdie fest. I really like him this week. Sammy Valimaki is a guy that showed up on these easy courses. For me, not a ton of a sample size, but the European, the Finn, almost won this year earlier. I think that at 7,000, he is too cheap again. Max Greiserman, outstanding last week. The last couple of weeks, he's been really good. And then cover boy for this, the YouTube cover boy, my boy Rico Hoey, USC alum, go Trojans. 6,700, 7,300. He's so long, like super long. The short game's there. Got his card last year by playing so well on the KFT. His games, he's popped a couple of times for us recently. Looked good again last week. I'm pretty high on Rico Hoey this week, as weird as that is. A decent punt. So again, this is a weird week. All right. The field's not that great. We're building up to the PGA championship. And I think we're 12 days out now. Look at where are we at in the back here? Harding Park in the back. PGA championship though this year, we are building towards that. I think it's, this next week we'll have a strong field. Week after that, we're looking at PGA. And it's going to be a fun little stretch of golf here. Things get hot and heavy. We get PGA, we get US Open, we get the Open Championship, and then all of a sudden it's the end of July. Right. So it's kind of crazy to think about how fast it's going to go here. But again, a good opportunity to get into a weak field. These are the types of events that I love to MME. Right. That's what I want to do. I want to build 150 lineups this week. I want to get lots of different combinations. My player pool probably expands a little bit this week. Usually when I'm doing 150, I'm looking at 35-ish. Probably going to be closer to 50 this week. I'm just going to get a little bit of everybody, just trying to find a spot where, get that right combination of 6. But those favorite plays are guys that I'm going to be way over the field on. The punts are guys that I'm going to be way over the field on. So if you're building and you want to give those our domination station, we can give a little bump in the projections. You give them a heart, give them a like, give them an adore, right? That's what I'm doing when I'm building in the DS as well. Before we go, again, big shout out to my boys, Minnesota Vikings, JJ McCarthy, quarterback of the future Hall of Famer, maybe the next Tom Brady. I don't know. Blessings. Have a great week, guys. Use that code up north if you want to come to DS Army VIP. Hit me up in the chat when you get there. Peace, everybody. Good luck.